Las Vegas, it's Football Forecast Weekly. Starring Dennis Tobler. With the Professor Gordon Jones. And special reports with Dave Hammer. And now, the host of Football Forecast Weekly, Bob Elder.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Football Forecast Weekly, the show that each week right here on this station gives you the insights and the information that you need to help better handicap and predict college and professional games. Hi, I'm your host, Bob Elder. Well, it's the last week of the regular baseball season. We got the playoffs in the World Series, but more importantly, that means that we're in full swing with week number 5 as we go right into stride with football. And we've got a big week, too, in college and pros. In college, there's a new #1 team in the nation, as you know. Washington is undisputed #1. It's the first time they've been undisputed since 1984. And we've got a great college matchup. #2 now, Miami will host Florida State. And in the pros, what better game could you ask for than the Monday night one coming up, the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. It's quite a week. And, of course, coming up just a little bit later on, the Professor Gordon Jones will be joining us. He'll have his premier picks plus his television games, which are becoming quite popular. And, of course, Dave Hammer will be joining us with his over and under selections. And more importantly, he's going to have those significant line movements that you can only get from watching a show right here in Las Vegas. And you really need those to handicap at your best. But joining me right now is one of the best handicappers around, and I can say from coast to coast, because last week, Dennis Tobler, your 900 number, you gave away that easy winner, Buffalo over New England, that on the far end of the coast, and then all the way across the Pacific, BYU and Hawaii an easy winner. You've got to be happy, especially since it seems that the big games you're giving are all the underdogs covering their selections.
Well, that's right, Bob. Not only covering, but they're winning straight up in most cases, just like my Hawaii game that was my WAC Conference game of the year last week. It was kind of interesting. Here in Las Vegas, the line started on BYU as a 4.5-point favorite, went all the way down to a pick at game time, and I heard there were even some casinos here in town that had Hawaii the favorite in the game. I wonder if there's too many people watching our show here in town, Bob, and we're having an effect on the point spread.
Well, we must. I'll tell you, underdogs winning straight up is really something. It's got to be a lot of good homework and a lot of inside information on your part.
Well, that's right, Bob. And also, the bookmakers have wrong numbers here, and it's pretty easy to win these days.
All right, let's go to the first game. And, of course, we mentioned it in the opening. It's the big one. #2. It sounds a little funny saying #2, Miami. They'll be hosting Florida State, but Miami's a 3-point pick. Dennis, how do you see this one?
Well, this one, of course, is going to be a very tough game and a hard selection for me to make. No wonder my selections on the show have been less than spectacular this year. You find the toughest games on the board for me to analyze, Bob. Anyway, in this one, the Hurricanes have problems. I don't know whether it's Gino Torretti's injury or whether they're overconfident or simply put, they're just lacking talent, what they've had over the past years. They were unable to rush the ball against Arizona, which was a complete surprise to me. They attempted 22 rushes and only gained 2 yards. Does that sound like a #1 team in the nation? It certainly does not. On the other side of the ball, Florida State's getting better each week. With their quarterback, Ward, being able to pick out his receivers and run the ball, they have a double threat here where they have not had in the past. I'm going to take the 3 points here, thinking it'll be a very tight game. Last year, it ended up 17-16 Miami. I'll take Florida State plus the points, Bob.
Should be a good game no matter what. Let's go to another good one. Georgia, a 12.5-point pick, travels to Arkansas. Now, Arkansas's coach quit. They have, of course, the brand-new coach they've had for several weeks, and now, interestingly, a new assistant coach by the name of Danny Ford from Clemson.
Well, Danny Ford's going to certainly help their situation quite a bit down there. One of the biggest problems with Arkansas this year and last year was the fact that ever since Hatfield left and went to Clemson, they have not recruited well. Not only not recruited well, they just haven't recruited at all. So their talent is very down this year. That's one of Arkansas's problems. The second problem is, of course, you mentioned it, they fired their head coach the first week of the year, a new system's trying to take over, and they're just starting from bottom to build up. Also, the fact that they lost to a big disarray team like Memphis State last week. Memphis State has problems of their own with people being kicked off the team and everything. Arkansas lost to them last week. Georgia, on the other hand, threw for 368 yards against Ole Miss. They're not the up-the-middle type Georgia team of the past years. I look for them to throw the ball a lot here and cover the 12.5. Georgia's one of the better teams in the country, Bob. You can lay the 12.5 here and win.
All right. Now, you've given us a lot of good information on your Insiders Hotline. You've got some great information. You were 8 of 9 last week. Tell us how we can get this week.
Well, actually, I was 9 of 10 last week. 4 out of 5 on my college selections, 3-0 on the pros, and I hit my Monday night matchup again. 90% on my 900 number. You can get those selections by calling 1-900-903-0933.
All right. Dennis has got lots more selections, another college game, and, of course, those big pro games coming up. Stay with us. We'll be back with more Football Forecast Weekly.
Hello, football fans. I'm Las Vegas handicapper Dennis Tobler. Each week for the past 5 years, you've seen me on Football Forecast Weekly, and I have hit an incredible 63% of my television selections during that time. You also know that I pound the strip each week for the information it takes to become a winner here in Las Vegas. This year, I have something special for all you viewers out there. I'm going to be releasing my private play selections each and every day of the week on my 900 private play line. That number is 1-900-903-0933, and for only $20 a call, you can call each and every day of the week and get new point spread selections direct from Las Vegas. My information is second to none. I've been beating the spread for 20 years here in Las Vegas, and you can see how. Just call 1-900-903-0933 and get on the winning bandwagon. Call now.
Come on in, Dennis. It's time to talk about our new weekly consensus hotline.
That's right, Gordon. The three of us agree on the single strongest plays of the week for the NFL action.
For the college game we all love.
And the best over-under play of the week.
Get the three single strongest plays of the week, our consensus selections, by calling 1-900-420-0016, only $10 a call. That's the Football Forecast Weekly
Consensus Hotline.
Hi, football fans. I'm Dave Hammer, and last week I won my college game of the year. This week I spotted 3 college games with the wrong lines, and I'm going to release it as my 3-team college parlay of the year. By simply calling 900-454-6600 for only $20, you get these 3 easy winners. If you called last week and got the 1 winner, you want to be sure and call this week and get the 3. Remember, you can't get this kind of information anywhere else. Call 900-454-6600.
We're back with more Football Forecast Weekly. And Dennis, time now to go to 1 college game and 2 pros. And the college game we're going to start with is in a conference that I know you just love. You obviously are right on top of the WAC conference because of that big game last week. This week it's Air Force. They're traveling down to Texas to play UTEP. Air Force, a 4.5-point pick. How do you see this one?
Well, first off, Bob, I think the line's way off on this matchup. Air Force should have been favored by 13 points, 12 or 13 points, somewhere in that vicinity. After all, UTEP has lost twice this year. They lost to New Mexico State, and they lost to UNLV, Bob. The Runnin' Rebels here in town actually upset this Division I team that has a lot more power than they're supposed to have. I think Texas El Paso has not recruited well. They're another team over the past few years. They're really going back down the direction they had been, and they certainly are not a team that can play with Air Force. Air Force has too much speed on offense. I look for this one to be a runaway. Take Air Force, lay the 4.5.
All right, now, last week you did give us the WAC Conference Game of the Year, a big winner, and you told me off to the side, you said, you know, a lot of people may not call because the WAC Conference isn't big enough, but it was a winner, lots of good money. This week, you've got the Big Ten Conference absolutely free. They got to call.
You want to know what the best thing is, Bob? I've got another underdog that's going to win straight up. This time it's in the Big Ten, and I'm going to release it as my Big Ten Game of the Year. I'm also going to give it away free to everyone. I'm tired of people saying, are you any good? Do you know how to pick winners? I'm going to prove it this week. You can have my Big Ten Game of the Year absolutely free. That's right. Just call right now, 1-800-231-WINS. That's 1-800-231-9467.
And it's absolutely free.
That's right.
Can't ask for a better deal than that,
That's
except
for sure.
for this one, because this comes absolutely free. So we go to the NFL right here on the show. The Chicago Bears travel up to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. Vikings are a 4-point pick. How do you see this one?
Well, I'm really high on the Vikings this year. As you remember, in show number 1, I did predict the Vikings would win the Central Division. Pretty blatant claim to start the year, but the way the Vikings have been playing lately, it doesn't look like such a blatant claim. This is one of the key hurdles they need to get over. This black and blue division contest between them and the Bears will determine this division title, and obviously I'm going to go with the Vikings here. I think the Bears are really short defensively. I think that's where their problems lie. New Orleans exposed them on the road a few weeks ago, and I think the same thing will happen in Minnesota this week. Gannon's back in the lineup, and actually Minnesota's only a great quarterback away from being a Super Bowl team. And he played great last week. He plays great again this week. They're going to come away with a big win here because Chicago cannot stop their ball control offense. I like the Vikings. I wish the number was a little smaller, but I'm going to take Minnesota -4 here.
And obviously Chicago hasn't shown much of any style in domes. They lost down in the Superdome. Now they're going up to that noisy place up in Minneapolis.
Well, it's not only the domes, it's everywhere on the road that Chicago's going to have trouble. They have a huge home court advantage when they're playing in Soldier Field, but out on the road, it's a different story. I look for them to get beat handily.
All right, let's go to our next game, and I think people that watch Monday Night Football, my poor Raiders, I'm from Los Angeles, and they took a shellacking at the hands of the Kansas City Chiefs. This week, the Chiefs go, and it's a great AFC West matchup. They're in the mile-high city of Denver, and the Chiefs are going to be down by 1. Broncos are a point favorite. How do you see this one?
Well, this certainly will go a long way in proving or determining who the AFC West champion will be this year. Matter of fact, it may come back to this particular game. I watched the Kansas City game, and I released Kansas City on Monday night, but I was very disappointed with Schottenheimer's offense. All he does is run on first down, run on second down, run on third down, and only in obvious passing situations does he have Craig drop back to throw the ball. I think this is going to hurt him in Denver this week. There's one other key factor here. Yes, I know the Broncos have not been scoring any points all year, but I know one thing for sure. Dan Reeves has taken the responsibility for this. He says that the defensive coordinators in the league have learned his system, and he's going to have to mix it up. Now, I look for the Denver offense to mix it up this week. What better time? At home against their arch rival, Kansas City, for the division crown. I look for Reeves to call some fancy plays here or there, throw Kansas City off stride a little bit, and they're going to have to. The Chiefs have a good defense. Laying 1 at home is nothing here. I'll take John Elway and take the Denver Broncos and lay the 1 point.
And I'd also take the short week. Kansas City, even though the Raiders lost, they still got to beat them up a little bit. So I think them with the short week, that could make a difference.
Well, I think you're right. This particular week, it will make a difference for Kansas City. And also the fact that Reeves is going to change up the offensive attack a little bit this week should keep Kansas City off guard a little bit to start this game. That might be enough for the Broncos to get the job done.
And one less day to prepare.
That's for sure. That makes a difference.
One more time, Dennis, let's talk about that Big Ten game you've got, that big one, because it's absolutely free. That's a part I love.
Well, that's right, Bob, and no wonder the lines move around so much here in Las Vegas. When we give this away to tens of thousands of people, it seems that it shows up on the tote boards. We're going to take our Big Ten game of the year this weekend, absolutely free. I'm going to release it to everyone to show the kind of information that we release from my company and on my 900 number. You can have this easy winner by calling 1-800-231-WINS right now for my Big Ten game of the year.
And, of course, your final reaction to the fact that Washington is going to be playing USC. Washington, #1 team in the nation now.
Well, I know Don James didn't want to be promoted to #1. He'd much rather be #2 and sit back. But obviously Miami took a slide against Arizona. It even surprised me there. So you have to give Washington the credit. They have beat some good teams, including Nebraska.
And, of course, they've got USC this week up there. And I think in a little while, Dave Hammer's going to talk about the line movements of that. Also, Dave will be up in just a couple of minutes with his overs and unders. And coming up, the professor, Gordon Jones, with his premier picks. We'll be back right after this. Stay with us, everyone.
Wow, I did it again last week. For the 4th straight week in a row, I've hit my big game selection right here on Football Forecast Weekly. This week, you can capitalize on it absolutely free. That's right, I'm releasing my Big Ten Game of the Year this weekend absolutely free to all callers. All you have to do is pick up that phone and call 1-800-231-WINS right now. That's 1-800-231-9467, my Big Ten Game of the Year.
I'm Gordon Jones, and one of my favorite plays is what we call the late move. I'm here in Vegas checking the action up and down the Strip, and back in New York, my associate, Vinny Caselli, well, he's checking the late moves up and down the entire East Coast. Last year, he went 27-3 on his late moves. An incredible thing. We're putting our heads together this year and doing the same. You can get it. Ask for Vinny and call our 800 number. That's 1-800-423-2350. Come on in, Dennis. It's time to talk about our new weekly consensus hotline.
That's right, Gordon. The three of us agree on the single strongest plays of the week for the NFL action.
For the college game we all love.
And the best over-under play of the week.
Get the three single strongest plays of the week, our consensus selections, by calling 1-900-420-0016, only $10 a call. That's the Football Forecast Weekly
Consensus Hotline.
Wow, I did it again last week. For the fourth straight week in a row, I've hit my big game selection right here on Football Forecast Weekly. This week, you can capitalize on it absolutely free. That's right, I'm releasing my Big Ten Game of the Year this weekend absolutely free to all callers. All you have to do is pick up that phone and call 1-800-231-WINS right now. That's 1-800-231-9467, my Big Ten Game of the Year.
Welcome back to Football Forecast Weekly, everyone. It's a pleasure now to introduce a man who is really making a name for himself in college football. He was always good in the pros, but 4-1 last week, 13-4 overall, the Professor Gordon Jones. Prof, how you doing?
Hey, Bob, good to be here. And, you know, what a pleasure to get into college football after being the spread all those years in the Herald Examiner, last year on the Pro Challenge on another network, and back into college now. I didn't know it'd be this easy, Bob.
Well, you're making it easy. And another gentleman that makes it real easy is Dave Hammer. It's time to go out now to the strip where Dave Hammer is going to give you those significant line movements. It's important. He not only tells you the movements, but the reasons why, and also his over and under selections. And Dave, congratulations on winning last week's College Game of the Year.
Thank you, Bob. The line on the Colorado game last week went the wrong way. I hit that big game because I knew the line went from 11 down to 7. It should have went up. Now, here's this week's significant line movements. In your first game, Southern Cal goes to number 1 Washington, and Washington goes from 16 down to 14. I think the reason being the SC defense has toughened up considerably, and Don James won't run it up on a Pac-10 opponents. Your next matchup is Syracuse versus Louisville, and Syracuse goes from 14 down to 11.5. I think the movement's wrong. Louisville's a very poor team. They couldn't even beat Wyoming at home last week. Your next matchup is ASU, Arizona State University, versus Oregon, and ASU goes from -3 down to pick. Their good running back Bates is out for the game. And your last matchup is San Diego State versus New Mexico. San Diego State goes from 17 down to 13.5. I don't think their offense is as good as people thought it was at the beginning of the year. Now, your only real pro movement this week in the line movements was the Dolphins and the Bills, and the Bills went from 10 up to 12. I think we've all realized that if you're going to play the Bills, you're going to have to lay some points. They're a very, very fine offensive team. Now, I want to be sure and get you viewers 2 more winning selections out there. But first, out here in Vegas, the reason I win all these games is because I'm senior handicapper for the TSI network. I have a lot of information that helps me out here, and I'm here to utilize it. It's a combination that makes me a winner each and every week. Now, here's those 2 selections for you on the totals. In your first matchup, it's the Dolphins and the Bills. The total on this one is 48. Play way over the 48. The Bills have scored 153 points this year, far and away better than anybody else. I think the nearest one's 40 points away. The Dolphins can score when Dan Marino's unconscious on his feet. These 2 teams are the best offenses in the AFC. I see them going way over the 48 total. Play over 48 on the Dolphins and the Bills. Your next matchup is the Seahawks versus the Chargers, and this one the total's 33. Play way under. These 2 teams combined have not scored 67 points in 8 games. They can't score with their quarterbacks. Kelly Stouffer is not a big league quarterback for the Seahawks, and I don't think Humphreys is either. If you can't get the ball in the end zone, you're worthless to your team on offense. This game is a lack of offense. Play way under the 33. Now be sure and listen to the hammer on these 2. Now, last week I hit my big college game of the year, and this week I'm coming with a 3-team college parlay. I've seen 3 lines on the boards that are big mistakes. I'm going to release it on my 900-454-6600 hotline. That's the only way you viewers out there will be able to get it. You'll want to be sure and call on this one. There are 3 plays just as strong as last week's college game of the year. Call the hotline number now. Well, that's it from here, Bob. Back to you.
Well, thank you very much, Dave. And Gordon, I'll tell you, with all that information he has out on the strip, along with Dennis's and yours, that must make that consensus hotline something else.
It makes the consensus hotline a lot of fun. I get to check in with Dave every single day on his over-under specials. Then we come with Dennis, who has his 4-year running record, put my profiles in there, and we call it the consensus hotline every single day. Give us a call at 1-900 420-0016. The best of Dennis, Dave, and yours truly.
All right, let's give them a game right now in the college. We got Joe Paterno's Nittany Lions from Penn State heading to Rutgers. The Nittany Lions a 14-point pick. How do you see this one, Gordon?
Well, how can you see it any way except Joe Paterno? Now, very quietly, Penn State is putting together a 10-game winning streak that is going to be one of the longest in college football. On my power profiles, I rate them above Miami, Washington, the two Floridas, even Notre Dame, and they're going in against a Rutgers team that I always think is Ivy League. Now, Rutgers fattened up on Navy and Colgate, which is not a toothpaste, but against Boston College, they got blown out by 17. Penn State much better than Boston College. And meantime, Penn State also 36 points better than a Maryland team that almost beat West Virginia, almost beat North Carolina, played Virginia tough, and not even warming up Penn State. So this is a Penn State team that could be one of the top 1, 2, 3 teams in the nation, giving only 14. They ought to have that in the middle of the second quarter against a club, Rutgers, that can't even win as a home underdog.
Prof, you seem to be on a blowout record. You've had 2 blowouts in a row the last couple of weeks. This week, you've got your NFL blowout of the month. Tell us about it.
That's right, Bob. After 54 points last week, and then Florida, that was 2 good college blowouts. Let's try an absolutely free professional blowout. It's a big one coming up this weekend, and you can get it absolutely free by calling our 1-800 line. That's 1-800-423-2350.
And the nice thing is, it's absolutely free.
It's absolutely free, and it's absolutely perfect so far.
We'll have more with the professor in just a couple of minutes. Right now, here's Week 5 of the NFL.
Hi, football fans. I'm Dave Hammer, and last week I won my college game of the year. This week I spotted 3 college games with the wrong lines, and I'm going to release it as my 3-team college parlay of the year. By simply calling 900-454-6600 for only $20, you get these 3 easy winners. If you called last week and got the 1 winner, you want to be sure and call this week and get the 3. Remember, you can't get this kind of information anywhere else. Call 900-454-6600.
I'm Prof. Gordon Jones, and what a lot of fun we've been having this season with our free blowout games. Last week, our college blowout number 2 was Michigan over Houston, 54 points to spare. 2 weeks early, it was Florida over Kentucky. And now, absolutely free, my professional blowout of the month. You can get it by calling 1-800-423-2350. Remember, absolutely free, trying to go 3-0 on our blowout games. It's the pro blowout of the month, 1-800-423-2350.
Wow, I did it again last week. For the 4th straight week in a row, I've hit my big game selection right here on Football Forecast Weekly. This week, you can capitalize on it absolutely free. That's right, I'm releasing my Big Ten Game of the Year this weekend absolutely free to all callers. All you have to do is pick up that phone and call 1-800-231-WINS right now. That's 1-800-231-9467, my Big Ten Game of the Year.
I'm Prof. Gordon Jones, and what a lot of fun we've been having this season with our free blowout games. Last week, our college blowout number 2 was Michigan over Houston, 54 points to spare. 2 weeks early, it was Florida over Kentucky. And now, absolutely free, my professional blowout of the month. You can get it by calling 1-800-423-2350. Remember, absolutely free, trying to go 3-0 on our blowout games. It's the pro blowout of the month, 1-800-423-2350.
Welcome back to Football Forecast Weekly, everyone. Gordon, time now to go to my favorite segment. That's when we get the TV game selections from you. First one, a big one. Stanford travels to Notre Dame. The Fighting Irish are a 12-point pick. How do you see this one?
Well, what else is new, Bob? The Fighting Irish, a 12-point pick. I think every Catholic and every non-Catholic has to automatically go for Notre Dame. They know that out in Las Vegas. So they always point them too high, and Notre Dame, as a result, is under the spread for the last 2 years. Stanford is over the spread, and a 12-point game is just too much. Now, this is going to be the best scouted college game in history, because if you wanted to get inside Notre Dame, like Bill Walsh, you'd become a television commentator.
That's right.
Then you'd get to go inside. It has the Notre Dame players even worried, because Walsh was there last year. He knows every strength and weakness that they have, and that's very powerful. Meantime, how about a team, since Steve Stenstrom took over and hit his stride, that is 10-1-1. Stanford is very strong, and the one loss shouldn't even be there because I think they outplayed Texas A&M. Put that spy scouting of Walsh together with a good team, 12 points is just too much to give.
And, of course, I know you have a lot of other college games on your Professor's Straight A Play of the Day line.
Well, you know, Bob, it's been pretty much straight A since we got to start doing college football on television. It's 3-0, 3-1, 3-2, and then back with a big 4-1 last week. So 13-4, and the cream games coming up this week, if you'll call 1-900, that's 884-0770.
All right, let's go to another television game, and this is a big one for the people, I think, in Arizona because the Washington Redskins come to town taking on Phoenix. Washington only, I say, a 10-point pick. How do you see this one?
Well, only is right, Bob, because, I mean, after all, Tampa Bay has beaten them by more than that. So has Philadelphia, so has Dallas. So is why is Washington only a 10-point pick here against a team that they are 13-7 against the spread with in their last 20 meetings? Well, I was hoping, Bob, that you would say we had won the last 2 on television. We're going to try to make it 3 straight here by taking Washington, and they've prepared for this game beautifully. They had a week off. They needed that because of the guys coming in late. Now, you could almost say that the whole team physically and mentally will be there for the first time this week. They know they have Dallas and Philadelphia to catch up with, so 10 points, really very few. I think they'll double that.
Well, I think you're right, Gordon. Now, I know you have a lot of other games from the NFL on your NFL head of the class. Tell us how they can get those.
Well, it's been the head of the class, Bob, and after there's 4 years of beating the pro spread in the paper and then finishing 20% above everybody on the Pro Challenge last year, we're off and running again, and you can get those Pro Cream games at 1-900-773-0001.
All right, let's go to an over and under game, and this is the Green Bay Packers taking on the Atlanta Falcons down in Georgia. The overs and unders is 42. How do you see this one?
Well, down in Georgia, Bob, is really the key because last year they were playing on grass. This year, artificial. It changes this whole game around as a 42-point game. For example, Green Bay, they're not happy to go there. On artificial last year, they were 1-7 under. And how about the Atlanta team? They were very good on grass, but artificial out on the road last year, 4 up, 7 down. And so if you put that together, that's 14 unders for every 5 overs. It seems like an easy game, maybe as easy as last weekend, Bob, when we were 4-0 and finally got over 500 on the over-under.
All right, you've got a lot of good things going. Tell us about the parlays and, of course, that big over and under line that you have that's got the good record going.
Well, now that we're above 500 on all of the lines, let's stay there, and it's 1-900-976-9199. And if you want the cream of the parlay games, and we're 30-18 there. Imagine giving out 12 games every week, but we are 30-18 on our 2- and 3-team parlays. You can get that every single day. Our best parlay of the day, that's 1-900-976, and that's 7117.
All right, now make sure everybody gives those a call. Gordon, we will talk to you again next week. See you right back here.
Right back for week number 6.
All right, week number 6 should be exciting. As I said, week number 5, lots of good football to watch out there. Of course, you've got the big game between Florida State and Miami. Catch that as well as that Monday night game coming up next week. That'll be a dandy. Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. For Dennis Tobler, Dave Hammer, and the Professor Gordon Jones, I'm Bob Elder. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week on Football Forecast Weekly.